Welcome back to the Road to 1 Million podcast. On this week's episode, I'm back with Chris DiGiovanni, owner and founder of Detailer's Roadmap. Chris and his team build websites for some of the top detailing shops around the world. Last time he was on the show a few months ago, we were talking about the new site that he was building for our detailing business. Well, that site is officially live, and so we're going to be sharing our screen a few times throughout the episode and showing you guys some of the cool new features that he implemented on our website. Our old website was fine. It worked well, but it just wasn't fully maximized and as efficient as it could be. So the speed, the trackability, the conversions, these are all things that were lacking. And today we're going to show you guys some of the statistics behind the new site and how it's improved from the old site. As a part of our partnership with Detailer's Roadmap, if you guys are interested in having your current website audited, these guys have agreed to do a free audit of your current site to see if there's anything that can be improved. You can click the link in the show notes and just mention that you're a Road to 1 Million listener, and they'll get you taken care of. If you are interested in having your current website rebuilt, these guys have agreed to do a 10% off of the initial deposit or a free citation boost, which is something that we're having done currently and is great for SEO. Again, click the link in the show notes. You can schedule a call with these guys, and they'll answer any questions that you might have. Hope you guys can find some value in this week's episode. Don't forget, you can use the timestamps in the description if you'd like to skip ahead. And without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, Chris, good to have you back on the show, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Last time we were doing this, we were making hints and talking about the website that you guys were building for us, and now it's officially live.
It's up.
And we went live February 1st. So it's been 2 months now.
Yep.
And man, it's nice to have the best, as I was saying. Like,
look at that. That's a compliment. That's a swing right there.
I think that the website that we had before, and you mentioned this too, it wasn't bad, but like at some point, you know, you want to have the best with everything you do. And it's nice to just have like all the little cool features and just the speed of everything. Like I've noticed a big difference in the speed too. Like on our last site, I think there was some things that were a little bit slow. Maybe we can talk about like why that is. I think that's a pretty common thing for websites.
Mm-hmm.
But everything, man, it flows well. Obviously the conversions have been awesome.
Great.
So
that's awesome. Yeah, no, you've been a great partner. You know, if I can have everybody who gives us great, media and content, the world would be a different place. We would all sleep better at night. The pillows would feel perfect, everything. So, and it's Belk Mobile Detailing if people haven't seen it yet. So that's your personal site down there.
Yeah. BelkMobileDetailing.com. Let's talk about the content, because like when we were going through the process, the onboarding process, and we were having the site made, you guys obviously asked for a lot. It was a super easy process, but you asked for a lot of like content and photos and videos. And obviously that's what separates, I think, the quality sites from your roadmap partners versus like if you don't have content and you just have to use like generic photos and videos. So like what kind of, because we have so much content, but what kind of content do you really like to see from people?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it best, is like what separates roadmap sites from other ones is that like it's always the business owner. At the end of the day, like my site did not make your business all of a sudden be completely different, right? Like it does convert, it does do better, it gets more traffic. But at the end of the day, like if that site was filled with like Shutterstock photos, or you gave us no feedback to kind of turn the needle a little bit different, make it your own, it would feel like every other detail site, right? Yep. It would feel lame. And so honestly, one of our biggest signals is when like a company comes to us and they say they want to do a website and they don't have social presence, and God forbid if we sell them a site, even at that point, if they don't submit photos, it's like a flag. It literally goes up in our system of like, hey, no social presence, no photos were submitted. I'm just being completely transparent here. We literally have a flag in our system that says they're probably going to churn. They're probably going to go out of business in the next year. And we have to watch that site because that person's going to probably not have a great result. And honestly, it's always because the business didn't want to submit any information, didn't want to give us any photos. So going to your question, you said, hey, what's the type of content I want to see? We want to see one amazing video per page, paint protection film, ceramic coating, window tint, detailing. And we want to see really photos with people working on the cars. You guys don't sell finished vehicles. You're not car dealers. So customers can't tell an invisible coating, an invisible film, a washed car has had a service on it unless you visually show them like before and afters or a video or a time lapse or, I just kind of put it like this is like pretend someone was an alien and they came to the earth and they went to your site. What do you think you're showing them? If you're showing them a finished car and they don't know English, right? They're an alien. What are they looking at, right? Like the visual starts the process of pre-qualification. And so, and it's hard for me to tell you publicly, like, man, if I see Shutterstock photos on a site and they don't have social media presence, it's hard for me to verbally tell you that I think that customer is probably not going to be a roadmap partner in a year. But the reality is it's true. It really is.
It's crazy, man. Like that's something that you look at as like, man, this company has a high likelihood of going out of business.
Yeah. Yeah. Like to the point, like we might be getting to the stage where we might be telling people, if you don't submit photos, here's your money back. I mean, genuinely, because I don't want to take a phone call that someone is like, well, I don't get any leads. And immediately I'm going to go to them and be like, what do you do on Facebook? Do you do on Instagram? Do you do TikTok? Do you post on Google Business? And most of the time, if you weren't willing to give your website just that little bit of flair of who you are, you're probably not willing to market yourself. That's a problem. That's a big signal. And it's probably a reason why a lot of these guys are go out of business and why others really flourish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, don't you think that some video or some photos of you working on the car, you talking about your services, like even if they're not the best, just something is better than nothing.
Yeah. You got to have something. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a shame that people put their online stuff out there and don't do anything. So with it, they just put a pricing page and then hope it works.
Yeah.
It's not how the world works.
I think a lot of people, they're like too scared to want to make the content because they don't know what to post, or they see all these other people out there that are doing it really well. They've been doing it well for quite a while, and it's intimidating. It's like, man, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. And so that's where I think you just have to start somewhere. And there's a lot of examples of content on the internet that I think is pretty simple and straightforward, like just talking about what's in the shop today. Or like I'm always saying, like let the shop create the content for you. So a job comes in, why is the customer coming to you? Talk about that.
Yeah, it's great. And it's, social media and Facebook and content can absolutely help. But like I had a guy the other day, he's like, I've been in referral game. I've had dealers forever. Everyone knows my name. Why do I even need a website? And I'm like, well, first of all, you came to me. But like if something tells me you already know, you got to really look at like all this stuff as additional cups in the lawn, and you're just catching as much rain as you can. So if you're only sticking with dealers or you're only sticking with referrals, I hope to God both those cups don't tip over in the lawn. You know what I mean? Because I certainly would rather have 5 more cups of Facebook, Instagram, a website, AI submission, AEO results, stuff like that. Like I want to have as many cups because I want to be inundated with picking as much business up as I can. if that makes sense. So just don't leave it to one or two channels. I think that's the biggest the lesson that people are really learning in the past 12 months right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, you saw my old site, and the new site, we've been tracking the conversions, and it has gone up significantly. Like I think February, we can look at that. I think February of 2025 on my old site. What did we have? Like 30 lead forms?
30 lead forms. And then we can kind of walk through it here. We can show you how our site is. You just tell me when you want to screen share, but I think you had 30-ish on there. We weren't able to track how many phone calls you had from the old site, but our system tracks calls. Mm-hmm. And who knows how much are spam from the old site, how much are spam on here, right? There's a blend, but you can at least understand what went up and went down. But from a nutshell, do you want me to kind of screen share?
Yeah,
so
let's
kind of
see that.
So let's pull up here, and not that window. That's the naughty window. So in a nutshell, you can look at the data from yesterday, 7 days, 30 days, and 1,700 visits and 48 submissions. So if you were at 30, here's the kind of the way to think about it too, is like, if you were at 30 submissions in 2025 and you're at 48 today, that's a 20, man, I'm bad at math. Carry the 1, divide it by 7, give it back to the alien. You're kind of roughly like around 50%.
55, 56,
yeah,
something.
55%. Yeah. And so 18 more form submissions might not be a crazy amount in just 1 month, but you got to take the multiplication factor of times 12, right? 12 months. Mm-hmm. And then, are you going to grow your business? Do you plan on staying where you are? Or do you plan on adding more channels like ads or all that stuff? Like, then you can start now understanding what the website actually does for you. It's now you have the perfect kind of pre-qualifier and salesperson online, and now it will chop people up. So now you have the funnel, right? Yep. The drain is the conversion from traffic. Now you can just open it up the funnel as you need, and you and I had talked, right? Like, do you maybe need as much ads now, or do you want to press the gas even further and have a dedicated sales guy? Like you're in the most beautiful scenario now, because you can press the gas or you can limit the gas based on what you guys need.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We had added window tinting, and we added PPF in 2025. And we've noticed a significant uptick in the window tint since the new site went live. And I even had someone yesterday I spoke with that they had looked through the entire window tint page. And they knew, like, oh yeah, I want the Apex film because that blocks like more infrared heat. But what does that mean exactly? So it was like a perfect client that had done just enough research online to know that like we offer, a good, better, best. And they wanted the best, but they wanted a little bit more clarification. So that's why they filled out a form. Super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're in a great scenario of like, there's nothing. And I always tell people this is like, the website's a tool, right? Like, now you've got a tool that can pre-qualify. It's well written for Google, and it can convert. Fucking hell yeah. Like, this is the moment. Like, you've got the perfect 3-factor: writing, design, and converting. And that's, everyone always gives us a hard time online, but we are one of the biggest partnerships. Is like, they'll always say, man, they're expensive, but damn, they're worth it. Every
that's
single
how
time.
We want customers to look at our business too.
Yeah.
As a detailer or as PPF, it's the same thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if I could do it cheaper, I would, genuinely. Like, but the writing is super important. I hate writing. So we have writers. We have tools that tell us if it's going to get ranked on Google and AI and all that stuff. I hate buttons, but I have to have buttons on the site. I hate buttons. You and I had talked about this. You're like, man, there's a lot of buttons in the hero. I'm like, I fucking hate buttons, but I know it works. I just want to make pretty websites all day. So that's the blend. If you can get all 3 of these things in, you got the gas. You know what I mean?
So what do you think was the difference between the old site that I had and the new site? Like, why is it converting better now? Is it SEO? Is it just more buttons?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is a combination of, I say it like this, and listen, my staff is mostly women, so they absolutely hate this analogy. So just, if you're a female, I promise I won't piss you off, but this is how I always explain it, is that when you were dating, the perfect spouse for you was someone who is like, man, they're smart, man, they're good looking, and man, they're asking me for a second date, right? Like that's the perfect spouse. Like they wanted to talk to me more, they're great, and they're just great to look at. When a website isn't smart and isn't well read and doesn't convert and it doesn't look pretty, even if one of those things is not like perfectly aligned, you have what's called a unfunctional, not 100% functional site. So your old site, I thought was visually very strong. I think I even told you that when you first made a consultation. I'm like, I think you're visually there, but it didn't have enough call to actions. It didn't have enough writing to inform of what packages are, and then enough writing for SEO for your local area. It didn't have Google schema. So it's like one of these things is like, you could build a house. It's just not to the standard that I personally prefer. So and I don't mind. If you want to go build your own site, here's the trick. At least 1,000 words per page. So if you're telling us you're doing a 7-page site, I'm telling you it's 7,000 words. I want 8 to 15 buttons per page. Yes, I know. Kabam. I know that's crazy. And the third one I'm going to lean super hard on the business owner for, I need great photos or videos. I can do a lot with Shutterstock, but at the end of the day, the consumer is very fucking smart. They are very smart. I think it's a disservice to the consumer to throw a Shutterstock thing on there and just, they know it's not their hands in your shop in Alabama or Missouri or Florida. They know. And if your site looks like everything else, and you know how this goes, there are price shoppers out there. If you look like everything else, you sound like everybody else. And so when you combine those three factors of writing, design, and conversion factors, you get a banger of a site every time. And hence, you and I had started this conversation of, I said, man, if there's a lot of Shutterstock customers coming to us and say, I don't want to give photos, I kind of just don't want their business at this stage because I don't want the phone call saying my site doesn't convert. I mean, if I take, granted, 99% of our roadmap partners understand that, and we try and make it very evident during the onboarding process, like, we need this. But I can handle the conversion, I can handle the design, I can handle the writing, but I can't go over to your shop and shoot you your photos. Now, we'll walk you through what we need, but that is what makes the perfect bowl of soup, if that makes sense. That's what everybody makes websites, everybody makes a steak, but what you do is like all those little processes that make it perfect, that when you combine it all, it works. And you saw it, you saw the benefit. And I even think you and I had talked when we were first starting this process. I was like, I don't want you to talk about Detailer's Roadmap. What did I say? I said, I want you to experience it so you understand. Because I could tell people our sites convert better. And they're like, yeah, you're full of shit. I'm not. I've got a process, trust me. And my process changes genuinely.
Let's talk a little bit about the SEO side of things, because I think, like, obviously 1,000 words per page, having 8 to 15 buttons per page, like that's all great, and that will
It's
help a little
hard
bit with
sometimes
SEO.
too, right? Like it's sometimes, especially for a business owner, write about 1,000 words uniquely. That's not AI junk. Like
Yeah.
about, it's tough sometimes, genuinely.
Yeah. Yeah. I was looking through the verbiage on every site, on every page on our website, and it was very well written, and it was very tailored towards us and like what we stand for and believe. So I could tell that whoever was writing it, um, they were writing it almost like as if it was me writing it, but as if I was a professional writer.
Yeah. Yeah, we pull from our form and we get a lot of data out of you. We ask weird shit. We ask like, do you wash the car before you, if you do a tint job? Like, I know that sounds weird, but like that kind of all plays into it. So,
Yeah. What do you think realistically? How long does it take to rank for SEO? Like when you start, when you have like a high functioning SEO website, then how
mhm.
long does it realistically take to rank?
Yeah, I mean, let's just talk about our level of site. I won't assume to talk about somebody else's or a different agency because there's all, just like you said, you can make a steak 100 different ways, and what takes it from this to be Wagyu is completely different. So our sites, and what we said even on your launch call, is like we generally say is like you're gonna, and there's all sorts of factors. So for perspective, Josh had a website up prior. That's a different situation than somebody who had no website. Those are completely different camps in Google and AI's mind, right? Someone who's brand new does not get the same renown that somebody who's already had a website. So we're just going to take your scenario, and population matters, competition matters. It's unrealistic to think that a detailer's roadmap site is going to outrank someone who's been there for 15 years and spends $2,000 a month on SEO, right? So it's all about activity. So in your case, what we told you on the launch call is like every week, every month, every day, the website's going to actually fluctuate quite a bit. If you Google yourself, you're probably higher than what you saw before. But at the end of the day, roughly between 3 and 6 months is where you typically see what's called a landed result from the website. Where people get really confused is we build the website with the highest standards of SEO today. There's also ongoing SEO. That's where you're pressing the gas again more, right? Where you're making more blogs, making more pages, making adjustments. We found out Google really likes FAQs and AI likes FAQs. So now you're seeing those on Detailer's Roadmap. But in 6 months, they might tell us, fuck FAQs. You know, like it changes a lot. So it is a somewhat loaded question. But if you are really doing a level of a website like us, you're typically going to see a somewhat monumental change, usually within 3 to 6 months. My staff is trained on to find the terms that matter the most. So you're going to see stuff like car detailing, auto detailing, plus your town and stuff like that. I had a guy the other day. He's like, I'm not popping up for XPEL PPF. And I'm like, you know why you don't pop up for XPEL PPF? Because people don't search it as much as you might think. People search PPF near me. And I like took him a minute to like, and then I had to like literally show him a graph. I'm like, here's the 10 people in your area searching XPEL PPF. Here's the 1900 searching PPF near me. Which one do you want? You get one choice. Don't you choose wrong. I'll come at you. And an SEO plan, you know, if somebody wants to do ongoing SEO where we go deeper down the well and we go after all those, that's called like a long tail keyword, we can absolutely do that. But I need to, the reason we start with a site, she's got to convert first. Because you're in the best part now. Now you can open the funnel as much or as little as you want.
So we talked on like I think the first podcast I did about what your Google business name is, like whether it's Belk Detailing or then you put some keywords in there for like your other services, ceramic coatings, window tint. I look at Grant Menard. Last time I checked, his Google business page is Menard Premium Detailing PPF. He's got a few keywords in there.
Yeah.
And I got a DBA like you had suggested, so that if they ever did, Google ever asked me, like, hey, is this legit? You need to verify this. I could show them that. Thankfully, they didn't. I
Right.
changed my address.
Remember, we were all scared for you.
We were.
Let's pray, let's do this. So you changed your name, and we were hoping they weren't going to like ask you for a letter, more or less.
They didn't. I changed my My address, they didn't ask me for verification. So
You're two for
sometimes,
two. You should have bought a lottery ticket that day.
yeah, sometimes that's how it goes. I know sometimes people aren't as fortunate and they do,
Right.
which is why we had the DBA. But I'm also in the middle of doing the citation boost with you guys,
Yeah.
which updates every directory across all the internet,
Yep.
so that everything lines up, and that helps, right, with SEO.
Yep.
So my question is, like, I'm in this spot where when someone answers, whenever I call someone, I'm like, hey, it's Josh with Belk Detailing. My
Hmm.
website is Belk Detailing. My domain is Belk Mobile Detailing, but we kept it like that because we talked about changing that would really have a catastrophic effect, probably on
Yeah.
SEO. So, do you think, with where we're at with SEO now, which I know is always changing, do you think it's worth leaving Belk Detailing, window tinting, ceramic coatings, and paint protection film, or should I just simplify it down to Belk Detailing on Google?
Yeah. I mean, so this is the greatest conundrum always is, do you, in your build years, how many years are you in business for right now?
6.
Okay. You're in 6 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. You really got gas in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So my personal opinion is, I don't ever want a phone call from someone saying I don't have enough traffic or leads, right? So I I don't ever want that phone call. So, it's the magic answer is like, you should be building brand right now, right? Like, Belk Detailing is an experience. Belk Detailing, we do this. What do you do after the sale? Like, this is the time to start building the brand and like doing extra things of like, we do a car event. We call our customers 30 days after every PPF tint and ceramic. Like, this is the time to start building a brand. Take the traffic in now, and I would leave the Google business the way it is. You can always buy belkdetailing.com, and we can set what's called a masked forward, which means they type in Belk Detailing, but they actually land on Belk Mobile Detailing. The reason we didn't want to adjust Josh's site is if we put it on a new domain, this podcast would have went way different. He would have said, I've got 3 leads and I went from 30 leads. Because Google doesn't want to really, it doesn't want to give power to any new sites. There's this thing called AI. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
Oh, yeah.
people are putting up tons and tons of websites. And really what's happening is, if you put up a new website, you're telling AI and Google, like, please, I want traffic coming to it. But they're going to say, no, not until we see people coming to that party are we going to bring more people to the party. Now, there's ways around it for sure. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, if it was just as easy as putting a new website up, we would make you a new website every day. Right. So my personal opinion is, right now, leave it the way it is. If you want, go buy Belk Detailing. You might already have it, and we'll forward it over. But really, once you get to a point of like satiation, like you're satiated with leads and traffic, and you have now turned new leads into a deeper recurring customer, and you should know that. You should literally look in your books in a year and say, 30 days, is half my business coming from recurring or is it new? If you're finding out that a lot of it's starting to transition to recurring, that means you're building a brand. People are coming back. You might have services that are worth coming back for, right? Like tint and detail. But that's when you might want to consider transitioning to just like Belk Detail, and stuff like that, or Belk Auto Spa, or whatever it is. When you're in the gas mode that you are, I really want to capture as many eyeballs as I can. And there'll be businesses that keep those eyeballs on that Google business name, right? The PPF, detailing, the tint, the stuffing, as we call it, right? You're stuffing keywords in. I think for the time being, just let's take every eyeball. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, if you can always try it, you can change your Google business after the citation boost, but then it screws everything up again, right? Like, it starts a whole train effect. And people don't understand that, is that they think adjusting domains or adjusting websites or adjusting Google business, it's no big deal because it's just a pencil that you click on Google and you edit it. And it does have a dramatic effect. You have to remember AI and Google, they want to serve the best answer.
Hmm.
Because if you use ChatGPT or Google and you like the best detail website designer, and Google or ChatGPT serves you like guys that are trash, and then the next search is another one that is like, this isn't even, I asked for the best detailing website designer and you're giving me a guy who does websites for landscapers. You're not going to keep using that service, right? And I don't mean to keep going on a tangent, but where I'm going with this is that at the end of the day, it wants to serve the most authoritative person, the most authoritative website, the most authoritative name. And so every time you stick your name in there and you're making social media, it all matters. This all is like a tree branch with roots, if that makes sense. When you
Yeah.
change names, potentially we're changing the location of the tree, and it's got to reset roots is the easiest way to say it.
We're at the point now with our business where I'm not sure the percentage, but I'd say it's probably 50% or more of the people that come in the call that end up like booking an appointment ultimately are people that like they've done their research. They've seen the social media, they've been referred by a friend, they've looked at the website and they've done their research on it. And so at that point, it's about closing them and making sure that they can trust you for their vehicle.
Yeah.
Um, I know that we just recently had 2 pages built on the new site, one
Mm-hmm.
for Corvettes and then one for Porsches, where it's specifically like showcasing photos and videos of us working on those particular vehicles, and then has like different services that we offer for those vehicles, window tint and PPF and ceramic coatings. So um, I think that a lot of the value of having like a high converting website and a website like what we've got now is being able to use tools like this, which was super easy to build. I mean, we just dropped a comment in and then put the photos and videos we already had. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's a tremendous sales tool. So for anyone who's a roadmap partner, or even if you don't have a roadmap site, but for roadmap guys, all he said is, "I want a curated gallery page." That's what we call it. He gave us the photos. He gave us the YouTube. He gave us tons of content to work with, and we didn't even charge you for it because you gave us the content. So they just built the page, and you'll just be able to. The beauty is if I had a Porsche and I saw 3 different videos about a Panamera, a 911, a Cayenne, and I saw this, and we can make this even go further. I'm sure you're going to even have more updates and more photos or more videos.
yep.
But man, if I was local to your area and I had a Porsche, this is kind of indisputable evidence, right? That you're the authority in the area. Who else has a Porsche page in your area?
Yeah, no
You
one.
know, or Corvette page. And now you can use it as part of your marketing too. Like you could go into the local Corvette group. I guarantee you those psychopaths are in there and they have a Facebook group. But it's like a powerful sales tool. At the end of the day, people just want to buy for the person who can get the absolute result that they're looking for, a value they feel. So to your point, you said, someone goes on social media, but then they check the website and then they call you. Like all these little baby steps are
Mm-hmm.
like, is there enough points of the decision making process here that this is my guy?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, like we bought out another detailer who that's how we got into paint protection film,
Mm-hmm.
who had been around for like 10 years. And he was like um, very high, established, reputable company, a lot of relationships here in Springfield. And all of his numbers get forwarded to me now. Like
No,
he's told.
nice.
So I'll get people that call me and they're looking for Jeremy. And I'm like, well, here's what happened. This isn't Jeremy, but um, then they'll go and do their research on my website, right? They'll be like, okay, so who are you? Oh, you're Belk Detailing. And then they'll go
Who's
look at the
who this guy?
reviews, and then they'll go look at the Porsche page and they'll be like, oh, I can trust this guy. So I think it's by having like the reviews, yes, and the pages and pictures and videos of working on their specific cars. It's like we got them in the door through whether it was through a referral or through buying out his book of business or through good SEO, but then it's like building that trust to
Yeah.
where they're like, oh, we're going with them,
Yep.
no doubt.
Yep. It's all trust, authority, and education. I think you even asked the other day of like the EAT, or somebody did, education, authority, and trust is like some of the biggest signals to buy. Would you have bought from a site from me if I said this is my first detailing website and all I did was landscaping sites? I probably could have done it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ironically, I was in a Facebook group last night and they're like, could someone do a landscaping site? And I was like, I literally had 20 minutes. So I built out like a mock-up that I liked. And he goes, this site's gorgeous, but I don't see any other examples of sites you've done that are landscaping. I'm like, motherfucker. It was a gorgeous website, by the way.
Yeah. Wow. That's funny.
It's a real thing,
It is. Yeah. And, I had Kyle from OC Detail Works on this podcast, and he's got like, he's been doing these avant-garde 1051 coatings, which is a new coating. And he was telling me about how he introduced this coating was like, he told the customer right off the bat, like, hey, I've never done one of these before. This is what it's supposed to do. It's going to be a little bit of a trial run. So like there's a time and a place when you're launching a new service, PPF, window tint, coatings, and you haven't done one before. It's like you're honest with the client. And some clients are going to want that. They're going to want they're going to want you to have worked on other people's cars before you work on theirs. But I think by being honest, with them, if this is your first time doing something, you still will get some people, that appreciate the transparency.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I heard you say one podcast where you used to send the guy to the PPF guy that you bought out. You'd say, oh, send it to him. He makes it perfect. And his first answer was, oh, it's never perfect. It's 100% right. Like, was your website perfect the first round you looked at it?
No.
Yeah. But we told you that ahead of time though, right?
Yeah.
Like, as long as people will buy from someone they trust and they feel like they're honest. If you feel like you're getting a slimy deal, it probably is slimy, to say the very least.
Yeah. And at least with PPF and with window tint, like when we first started, you get in this mindset where you're like, oh my gosh, I notice everything that's wrong with this. And you make it like such a big deal. And you're like, surely the guys at the top like don't have these problems. And then you hand it to the client and you're like, gosh, do I point out like all the imperfections in it? And like, don't even charge them for it. And then you realize after you've done like 100 of them, it's like the problems that you thought were issues aren't really issues with like 90% of people.
Right.
And then with the 10% that it is an issue, like you can pre-qualify, ask the questions, understand going into it. Oh, this is going to be someone that could be problematic. I need to point out some things before we even get started.
Yeah. They love it. They love it. They eat it up. That's why when we just did this like audit of like 200 plus sites. I don't know if you saw that on my Facebook. I was like, this was such a terrible idea. We're never doing this again. But like, and I'm just being honest. We sold a lot of sites and most of them, ironically, were to our current customer base. Like what can we do? But if you're honest and say, I would change this on your site, I would do this, like they love it. Even my own partners who've been partners with us for 4 years or 4 days, they love it. And even people who came in and they saw like how we are talking to our own partners and like, dude, this sucks on your site. Change this. Like I was ripping people apart on those videos. Like, why did we do this? We chose a terrible font.
Yeah. What was like, I saw you did that. What did you feel like the main issues were, if you can even pinpoint one?
Yeah, it's going to go back to the first thing we talked about. It's going to be content and media. There's some sites that we did for, I had one guy, he wasn't happy with me. He's like, it had to have been the first 30 sites we did. I'm like, this thing is just aged at this stage. Like no amount of photos and videos are going to 4 years ago, we just did things differently. We had a different level, a different minimum bar. And now our sites are just a lot more engaging. And you could tell because of the numbers. It was really tough for me to tell him that because his site actually performs really well. It engages really well. But I'm like, if you want my honest opinion, I would call us for maybe redesigning the site. You don't have to. I understand I'm asking you for my, but I feel like this is not our current bar. And I know the level that you do, and no photo or video is going to take it to that level. Like it just needed like a wipe, 100%. And he appreciated that. He sent me a message. He was hot at first. He's like, oh man, when I saw that, I got red, cause why didn't anyone tell me this? I'm like, it's not like we call each 1,000 partner, every month. Yeah. But that's why we wanted to do that kind of thing, is to show people like there's always something you can do. And I think business owners really like that. They're like, they like being picked apart, of like pointed out from an expert. Yeah. And 99% of the time, the changes are very easy. I will say this is like, we also tracked how many of them went and did those changes. Mm-hmm. Only half did. So it was a kind of a test. Like we would say, hey, we think you should rip off the schedule online buttons because I don't think you're getting enough leads. I think you should put them to a phone call or a form. Or, hey, I notice all your Facebook content, Instagram content is killer. Why is none of that on the site? And we tracked like 30 customers to see if they watched the video and if they commented. Half did, half didn't. I guarantee you the half that did, that listened and are doing something, they're becoming proactive business owners. They're making a change in their business, even slightly with just a website change. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you those 15 are not going to scream in a year when things get slow. You know what I mean? Like there's just a weird mindset thing that happens, that like when you're just a business owner and you make action versus a guy that sits and does nothing. So
yeah, you have to play some offense, right? You have to get ahead of things, build good habits, because it's like with content. If you're just going to create content when you get slow, we're slow, we need to make a video. It's like,
it's 2 weeks too late.
Yeah, it's too late. And it just is like a horrible habit to have, versus if you need to create 3 to 5 pieces of content every single week, no matter what, you're going to figure out a way to make that content. I don't care if it sucks, but you're going to figure out something.
Yeah. There's a perfect correlation. You brought it up exactly. It's like, so we're going to get very busy for all detail shops are going to get very busy from now until there's a magic thing that happens once per year. It's called 4th of July. Mm-hmm. And what happens is about 10 to 15% of the shops flip out. I know this data. I have more data than anyone. 10% of them, I'll get 100 calls in a week. I'm slow. I hate to break it to you. 4th of July is here. Nobody's coming in for a coating potentially this week. I hate to break it to you. People go with their families. They start getting near the end of summer, right? Like stuff happens. Mm-hmm. But there's an insane correlation that actually happens. If you actually look when shops are getting slow, if you actually look 4 to 6 weeks earlier, they almost always stop running ads. They stop doing social media. They actually stop a lot of their marketing channels for whatever reason. Maybe something came up. Maybe they thought it wasn't working anymore. But I can 100% tell you, marketing puts your foot on the gas. You can sell to your recurring base, absolutely, and your new leads, but you have to keep at some level the gas down. And sure as shit, Josh, if someone tells me they're slow, I guarantee you I'm going to go look at their Facebook. And 9 times out of 10, they stop posting on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or, oh yeah, I shut off ads. Why are you fucking mad at me? like I didn't, I just made the tool. What you bring to the tool is different. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And same thing, November, December. You were smoking busy September, October, but you stopped posting. You stopped doing ads. This all adds up. This is all a confluence. I didn't lose weight. I'm looking good, by the way. I'm down 65 pounds. Look at
You
this. I
are.
didn't lose weight because I just stopped eating poorly. I went to the gym. I did this. Like, it's a confluence of factors. It's typically not one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I know they got all those Ozempic shots now. So
Yeah, look at that. Yeah. I wish I was on did those Ozempic back in the day. Good Lord, I would have probably lost a lot quicker.
yeah, I think that they're fine. Like, I think that it makes sense for people, man. I think whatever, short term effects it might have, it's
Yeah.
like nothing compared to carrying around the extra 60 pounds or whatever.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
Um, so like when it comes to these sites and like just I don't know, I want to make sure that all of our customers that are coming in, like at some point we start to get too booked out. This has happened in this time of year. We're
Yeah.
booked out like almost a month, and we want to make sure that we continue to give the old customers like good service. People don't want to wait a month to get booked.
Preferential treatment. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and but there's like this constant battle, and I'd be curious to know your opinion on this just with inside of your business. But there's this constant battle of like, okay, do we hire someone else? Or do we like stay booked out because it's kind of comfortable, being booked out? Do we look to hire someone else? And knowing that it is busier season, we're going into the busier season. Now we're going to add someone else to payroll, so maybe we're not quite as profitable right now. So we're going to really push on the gas to continue to market well. How have you
So,
battled that with your business?
yeah, I mean, I'm a numbers guy. I will tell you this as much as I just happen to be decent at design, but I'm actually better at finding good people. And even better than that, I'm very good at numbers. So, my personal opinion, because I had the same thing, I just hired another designer because we're going into our busy season. We're kind of somewhat aligned a little bit. I look at like, can I take this person at the worst of times? That's one of the biggest things. Like at the very worst, did I have a moment in the past 12 months that I was like, I'm scared of payroll? Payroll is the biggest expense you'll ever have by far. It's not even comparable of anything else. So, but I will say this: I am extremely black and white. If the option is close my business and not make money, or I have to let go two people, I will let go two people to save 20 other jobs. So I'm very black and white with numbers, if I'm being honest. Like, as much as I would want people to stay here forever, shit happens. I will cut someone if I have to. It's nothing personal. It's just the business has to survive because it has multiple layers of effects, right?
Right.
Me personally, if I was looking at it from like, I would look at it from a P&L standpoint. Like, the business brought in this and the business netted this. If I bring in this one person, a lot of business owners will look at like, well, he's going to cost me $3,000 a month, but I think I can get in 9. But they forget about insurance and healthcare. Do you have to rent more bait? Do you have to buy more materials? Like, it actually gets truncated pretty quick.
Yep.
My first piece that I would do is I would actually add friction in the business today. So if you're 30 days out right now, which you have traditionally been always around this time, I'm sure, I would add friction. I would actually start ganging up pricing a little bit. And it doesn't have to be a monumental amount, but I know there's this natural fear, and we have it too. Like, we're thinking about raising our pricing up, but we're going to give pieces and value and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, business does not cost the same to run today that it did 12 months ago. I guarantee you, your costs will always be rising, whether it's payroll, it's rent, a detailer's roadmap, terrible bill, stuff like that. Like, stuff adds up. So, I would realistically start trying to rack my pricing up 15 to 20%, believe it or not, on some of this stuff. And it's got to be on quite a bit of the services, because you want to have enough cushion that you're still making money, Because at the end of the day, if you're bringing in someone and you're going to bring in more revenue and the truncation happens of to get them going, you should be taking a portion of that as well. So every person you hire, it has to mean something more for the owner of the business. And I kind of speak to me, one of my best friends is Grant Menard. We talk every day. And the thing that he and I will always tell you is like, if you hire someone for 50 grand, they have to bring in 150. And Grant has been a king of this. He'll say 50's for you, 50's for the company, like insurance, healthcare, vehicles, equipment, training, vacation, and 50 is for me to reinvest into the future and take profits and stuff like that. And so there has to be a 3 times factor. So anytime we see somebody putting detailing up for 199 or 150, I mean, on my launch call, I'm like, I want you to know, I think you should be $300 because I want you to be around for the next few years. So I know that was a really long-winded, like all over the fucking place answer, but my personal opinion, I would start adding a little friction to people, because if you can add maybe just 1 or 2 grand extra per month over 4 months, that's 10 grand more, the cushion, and maybe you're going from 30 days to 21 days who are willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
And don't feel like you got to fucking spend it all. Like a lot of these guys with their P&Ls, they are just like, man, I'm killing it. I better put more into ads. Like, fuck no, dude. I hate to break it to you. November, December, January is a real fucking thing. I can see I'm going to my old ways. I'm starting to swear more. I've been working on it, but like start pulling back some of that cash. You gotta really start really thinking about the business. You're an employee of the business. You have to do what's best for the business. If you can get more revenue by hiring them, that's great. But I would start at like at least a 3 to 4 times factor. So if it's gonna cost you 3 grand to bring them in, you got to look at, can I get 10 plus out of him? Really start thinking. A lot of guys are like, well, it's 3 and I can get 6. Fuck no, dude. I hate to break it to you. That's no money. It's not what you think it is.
So we've been guilty of having a higher payroll than probably what is sustainable. And our payroll last year of total revenue was close to 50%, which is crazy.
I'm 55. I'm the highest
Wow.
payroll in the entire industry.
Wow.
Tell your accountant, shut the fuck up.
So what you're saying is you think that's fine? Like you think that's healthy?
You're a labor business. I mean, could you, there's all sorts of ways to play with it, of getting more efficient. My payroll is almost 58%.
Because all your business is payroll or it's labor.
Yeah. I don't have any PPF or tint. I don't have physical stuff. I've got computers, but you buy them once and they're good for 3 years. But I know my 58% has to at least be triple or quadruple to support all those clients and all that stuff and healthcare and stuff. And I tell people all the time, Grant's got a great one. We did it at MTE. He goes, I am the most expensive guy in the area, but I want my guys to have kids and take them to school. And I want them to be there and do an amazing job and show up every single day to do a great job on your car. And that's exactly what you want. In the video we did at MTE, someone asked like, hey, how'd you raise your prices? You went 3 times over, because he tells the story. He went 3 times his price. He's like, yeah, I just went on your able and I just tripled everything. That's how he did it. So
much of it is a mindset thing too, though, right? Like you're afraid that when you say a higher price, no longer people are going to be booking. But I think you kind of have to like test that. And you also have to look at your margins now. It's not always just about like greed, right?
Yeah.
Yes, everyone wants to make more money, but like you were talking about, if you want to hire someone else, you need to make sure that you can get 3x or 4x out of whatever you're paying that person for payroll. But also then what is it currently, right? So I think that I want to pay the guys well. At the same time, though, the business is sustainable because of the small margins. It's the extra $1,000 or $2,000 that you make here and there. It's the cross selling of, we're going to add ceramic coating onto this PPF job, which adds an extra $1,000. That's really where the business then becomes uh, healthy and sustainable.
Right.
Um, I
And
read a
it's one
book
of
and it
those
was like
things,
I read
you
this
know, it's
book and
one,
it was like 10% is like in the margins, like 10%
yep.
profit is like where you need to be minimum.
Yep.
So I think that's probably a pretty good rule.
Oh, minimum. Yeah, for sure. I get nervous if I'm anything below 30% at the end of the month. And I check our numbers every month. Um, you gotta, and this is kudos to Josh. I wanted you to be a partner because I love your podcasts, and I don't love the podcasts that are let's talk about swirls for 2 hours. Nothing against them, but I want to make a sustainable living personally and for my staff. It's like super important to me. And I want you to have a great website, and I want you to have an amazing service. So it actually all works together versus spending 10 hours on swirls and paint correcting. But at the end of the day, it's like, um, are you going to buy yourself more pain by hiring someone for 3 or 4 grand and they can bring in 10 to 12? Or at the end of the day, should you just raise your prices up 20% and keep the staff of where it's at? And then you have more in the kitty if you need a bonus and you add more friction. You know what I mean? Like there's all sorts of games. Before I ever hire, I always ask, how could I make more and provide better today? Because adding a new person comes with training and all, it's a snowball effect. It is not like a website that flips on and turns all of a sudden better, right? It's a whole person, it's a whole thing, it's a disruption. So I would really look at, and you might be the most expensive guy in your area already, but if you're not, I'd say why not?
Yeah, I think that's true with detailing, but with the new services, with which is where we're getting booked out with PPF intent, it's not the case at all. So
Time to go up. You're getting
yeah,
more confident in the product, right?
for sure, that's a
Yep.
big part of it, man.
Yep.
Once
Yeah.
you actually have people say yes to like the high price, oh, this guy said yes to, a $1,800 ceramic coating, and we killed it, and he was super happy, and you provide a ton of value with it, and it's like, man, we can keep doing it like this.
Yeah. My suggestion is we do an audit and you should do an audit yourself. I charged 1,800. You want to track the customer scenario the whole time. What I mean by that is I spent an hour on the phone call with him. I spent 20 minutes explaining it to him. We spent 9 hours correcting. We spent 2 hours applying. It was this much for the bottle. It was this much for the 3 pads. Let's say you replace a tool and it's $250, and let's say you're getting 2 years out of it. Divide that by 24 months, and that's how much it was to run it. That you can literally figure out how much it was to run that tool per day. That's what's called a burdened cost. And if you audit just one job, you'll really understand what it's truly costing you to do that 1,800, right? If you run ads, let's say he didn't even come in from the ad, but let's say your ad budget's 500, attributed it to that day that he came in. Hey, I spent $72 on ads that day. Like you start piling this all together, and I had 5 customers, you'll start seeing like all these numbers start to line up and like, oh shit, like, oh, this is way more than I thought it is. Hence why I'm saying not always the answer is always hiring. And I'm the hiring king. Trust me, I hire a lot. But I will always ask first, should I raise my prices up? Look at that stuff, audit just one job. And can I improve my life and my customer's life and my employee's life by bringing in an extra $100 a day?
Yeah, I mean, $1,000 for a ceramic coating or $2,000 for a full front PPF, it sounds like a lot of money. And I think it's a common mistake a lot of business owners make in the beginning is like, they're like, oh, geez, that's a lot of money. Yeah, it is. But what is left over after you spent all the time and labor on it? And how long did
Yeah.
you really take on it?
You got to count your sales time hours, your phone call, like you should count it all. When we audit, we literally just do a spreadsheet of who talked to this customer and for how long. Because I want to know the average of what we're spending. It all matters.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about this the other day, but everyone loves like the functionality, like the cool features on the website, you know. and that stuff's great. Like you want something that's pretty to look at,
Yeah.
but
Thanks.
but I think there's too much of an emphasis on that and not enough emphasis on like the tracking your numbers. Like even the site that doesn't have all of that, it's still a good site, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
got like trackability. And someone looking, the owner looking at the site can be like, oh, I know exactly how much um, money my ad actually made me
Yeah.
for the month. Like I think that is really what's important.
Yeah. It's super. I'm so excited to show you guys what's coming out in the next few months. But like, we built this system based off of running a business. Could have done this for any other niche, but it's people want to know how much traffic, how many leads, where do the leads come from? That's what you need to know. That's how you make profit in a business. Don't wing it. You know what I mean? So a lot of times when we have a consultation, when someone makes a consultation, if you do, tell them you heard about it from Belk Detailing because you get a discount actually. It's a promo that we're running with Josh. But when we have a consultation, we ask you, what are you doing? How many leads do you get per month? I think even you yourself, you're like, I don't know. I got to go check, right? Like I actually made you go check. But doesn't it feel so much more relieving to know what you were coming from and what you're getting?
Yep.
Because by all means, you could have said, well, this feels the same.
Yeah.
You really all I want to do is help other business owners become better business owners. That's the goal.
Cool. Well, man, I'm going to put the link as always in the description for everyone. It's a specific link, so click on that one if you're interested in talking with Chris and his team. And you guys are doing, remind me how you do that. If someone's interested in the site or if they're interested in just having their site checked out, do you guys offer them like, is it a free consultation and
Yep.
just like a look over of their current site?
Yeah. So when you do a consultation, when you click on his link, or you can go book online and just mention Belk Detailing, we audit your business ahead of time. So we pull any digital presence we can find. Some people actually have a presence even without a website. We go find what else is out there. And my staff is trained to understand what's working on your site and what's not. In fact, your exact scenario, remember they found a page that worked really well. Some other pages were not. They walk in with that information. They say, hey, here's what I saw. Here's what I saw was working. Here's what we saw not working on your site. But we want to know, why are you making this consultation? Like, do you need more leads? Do you not close enough? They want to know. And sometimes once in a great while, and during the audit, like we tell them we're not a fit. Like, hey, you need a website tomorrow, but you just started last week. You don't have a domain. Like, a website from us for $3,000, it's not going to do what you think it's going to do. Sometimes we'll tell them, we want to be honest, but I guarantee you, if you make a consultation and you go through that audit process, you will learn something monumental about what you can do as a next step. That's what we care about. Like, cool. If we're not the fit today, I think we'll give you some great information during that call that you'll call us a year or 2 years later and say, now is the time. And we get those calls all the time. I mean, we sold a site yesterday to a guy we talked to 4 years ago. He said we changed his life by the 3 things we asked him to do on his site. And things have gone well for 3 years. He's ready for a site now. But yeah, you make a consultation, we'll give you our time. When you make a consultation, we're literally making time ahead of the call and during the call to see what's a fit for these guys.
Cool. Well, I'll put the link in the description, and if anyone has any questions, just fill out that form. I don't know if you guys are you active on the Facebook group, or is that specifically for Roadmap Partners? Like,
you're saying, am I personally active, or
I know you're active, but can other people be active on there?
Oh yeah.
Partner?
They can come in. I'll be honest, every 6 months we purge the group. It's usually there's around 1,700 people in there today. I would say probably 300 or 400 of them are not actually partners. We do purge about every 6 months, but I'd say soak it all up. I don't gatekeep education. I just gatekeep if I find out they stole something from us and didn't. They didn't do it. But come into the group, ask questions. I think it's one of the best groups, but I'm biased as hell because it's a lot of my favorite part is they talk about business.
Yeah.
They don't talk about what tint to buy. But I'm very anal about that. Like if you're in that group, I want you to ask, how can I get more? I need help on closing, or I need this or that. So we really want the group to be beneficial for business owners. That's the goal.
Yeah, there's been a ton of great stuff in there. So I'll put that link in the description
Nice.
as well. So
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on.
thank you, Chris. Yeah, and I appreciate everyone for listening. We'll look forward to doing this again here soon.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.